All right, Arthel, thank you. Well, the remains of Fidel Castro were laid to rest in Cuba today, but the sad and tragic legacy of the hardline Marxist communist dictator far from over. Not laid to rest, the controversy over the convicted terrorists, cop killers, and other criminals still protected by Cuba, who the Obama administration did not make a part of restoring diplomatic relations. Well, our next guest knows all too well about that pain. His father was Frank Connor, who was only 33 years old back in 1975 when he was killed by a terrorist bombing while having lunch at Wall Street's Francis Tavern. That bomb from the Puerto Rican terrorist group, the FALN, Joe Connor has been calling for the extradition from Cuba of the FALN terrorists and others for years now, and he joins us now. Joe, always good to see you. My sympathies, as always, about your loss so many years ago, and this has been a cause for you. I mean,
Yes.
do you think the criminals who fled American justice for Cuba, they're still there, they're still protected, like the FALN's bomb maker, Willie Morales, who lost his hands? I mean, do you think the Trump administration, as of January 20th, say, we want them back, extradite them back, they're criminals who fled U.S. justice,
Absolutely.
or we're going to cut or reduce diplomatic ties?
Absolutely. Look, Trump talks about he's the deal maker, and we've made a deal with Cuba right now where we're getting nothing in return. Now it's time for Mr. Trump to stand up and on January 20th, the day he gets in, which happens to be my birthday, announce that we are bringing Morales back. We're bringing Chesimard back, and we're going to not do a darn thing with Cuba until we get minimally the return of these fugitives.
Why do you think the Obama administration didn't make this part of the deal? I mean, the State Department said there were discussions, but I mean, nothing's happened.
Because I don't think the Obama administration wanted them back. I don't think that they viewed them as anything important. And I think the Obama administration capitulated to Cuba in the same way that they capitulated to Iran. They call it a deal, but it's no deal. It's a complete capitulation. And now that Castro's gone, Fidel Castro's gone, and we have a new administration coming to town, it's time to do something and change that. We want our terrorists back.
Let's talk about Willie Morales first.
Yeah.
He was a bomb maker, lost his hands. He may have made the bomb that killed your father.
He probably did. Yeah, Willie Morales blew up himself on what would have been my dad's 37th birthday, July 12th, 1978. He lost 9 of his fingers, part of his face. Somehow he escaped from prison. He ended up in Mexico with a shootout with Mexican police, and instead of sending him to the U.S. in 1988, they sent him to Cuba, where he has been a guest of Castro since, and not a welcome guest. William Morales has moaned about the Cuban Marxist paradise that he wanted to enslave the Puerto Rican people in, and now it's time he can come back. We know that the Cubans are not all that pleased with him, and if we're going to get one of the terrorists back, Morales, Chesimard, Victor Guerrena, Charlie Hill, I think Willie Morales is the top guy.
That's Morales right there. Let's finish. Joanne Chesimard, convicted of killing a New Jersey state trooper. She fled under the protection of Castro. She is right now, can you believe this? She's on the FBI most wanted list, and she's down there under their protection.
And you know, Morales has a $100,000 bounty on his head. She has a $2 million bounty on her head, and she's still getting protection from Cuba. So I'm going to ask Mr. Trump right now, do something, Mr. Trump. Do not allow these people to remain, I won't call it free in Cuba because it's not a free country, but bring them back. They've already been convicted. Morales has been sentenced to 99 years in prison. Chesimard, life in prison. Just bring them back. That's what we have to do. If we're going to fight a war on terrorists, we have to bring back the terrorists that we know of.
There was the plea, there was the call for Joe Connor on behalf of his father and the other families and victims who have been victimized by the people who sought sanctuary and have been protected by Fidel Castro and his brother. Maybe it will change on January 20th.
Well, we're going to push it, and we're not giving this up. I guarantee you that.
All right, Joe. Thank you so much. We'll stay on this and get back to you as
I know you will, Eric. I appreciate it.
Thank
you.
Arthur?
Okay, Eric, and meanwhile,